What is up, everybody? Renfail here, and we just crossed the 20 hours played threshold with Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, which means it's time to do my initial review. If you're not familiar with my process, I do a multi-step review system. We do an early thoughts video after our first stream session, which we've already done. Links are down below. I then do an initial review after 20 to 25 hours played, and then I do a final thoughts video, a final review when I finish the game. And usually with bigger games where I get at least 50 hours of gameplay out of them, around 50 hours, I'll do another thoughts video. So this is the second of those multiple reviews that I do for the games that I play. And I already did an additional video yesterday, which was this is one of the best single player, like first person RPGs that I've ever played. And yes, you can do third person. I don't care. I don't play in third person. The game was designed as a first person RPG, and you can use third person, but it's actually not even like recommended. It's still kind of sort of being worked on. So this is a phenomenal, deep RPG. If you've ever played single player RPGs before in the past, whether it's, the easy example here to be would be like Skyrim or Oblivion or Morrowind. Those would be easy examples to make, but there are many, many first-person RPGs that you could choose from. Avowed is another great example of a modern single-player first-person RPG, even though you can play it in third person. I like to play it in first person. Anyway, I should probably remove the first-person modifier, but it is what it is. That's how I do my review process. So, let me shrink my head down here so we can actually look at some more stuff from the game. So, it has a very rich and deep go over the character panel here. Everything here is like you would expect from a deep RPG. You've got your attributes, which contribute to all of these different things over here. You can choose where you put your points. You have a skill tree, which we've talked about in the early thoughts video. It's based upon stats. Each stat has its own unique series of skill trees. I have gone heavy into bow and stealth. So I'm a stealth archer with this character, and I'll do a build guide later on for my character. It has a very robust gear system. I have an assassin set of gear, which gives me I believe 30% bonus to my stealth attacks, my sneak attacks. I have a really badass bow. I've got different types of arrows, like wood arrows, copper arrows, iron arrows, fire arrows, ice arrows, poison arrows. You can apply magic to your weapons and armor. You can do lots of different things. There's a robust crafting system in the game for cooking food. Somebody said it's like a lot like the food in The Witcher 3, and I was like, you're not wrong. It actually is a lot like the Witcher 3 food system. And then there's a potion system. You can apply coatings to your weapons. You can make bombs that you can throw at NPCs. There's lots of different crafting things that you can do at the alchemy tables. And then you can craft all of your own gear, and there's different types of gear sets. You can make heavy armor, light armor, medium armor. So it is a very robust RPG in that regard. It is a massive map. The first map, which was Orange of the South, I did not clear the map 100%. And there were a couple of quests that I left on the table, and I definitely did not do all of the dungeons. But I spent a little over 20 hours on this map. I could probably easily get 25 to 30 hours out of just that map alone, but I'm ready to move on to the next area, which we got to at the beginning of this stream. And you can see here, this map is massive. This is the second region. I don't know how many regions there are in the game, but this map is also massive, and I anticipate that I'm going to spend another 20 hours or so just on this map, and I don't know where it leads, so I don't know where we go from here. The voiceovers for the game are very good. I recognize a lot of the voice actors from other smaller projects. Overall, I would say the voice acting is exceptional. The writing is pretty good. There are lots of different NPCs. Lots of different quests. There's some humor buried in here beyond the main quests. And then there's the main story itself, which I don't want to spoil, but I will say it's a very interesting take on the Arthurian legends. I don't want to spoil it beyond that. It's just a very interesting take on the Arthurian legends and how you play into this. The spoiler is in the title of the game, The Fall of Avalon. That, once you understand what's going on with the story, that titling makes a ton of sense for what's going on with the story. But they do a lot of really interesting things here with King Arthur and Merlin and the is the forebears, like the ancients who came before. There's a lot of mythology here. There is a massively robust magic system that I am not tapping into at all, but other people are. Like we shared today, Slandered Gaming has a really good, like where you can find all the spells in Act One, a list of like all those spells and a really cool guide that you can go watch for the people who are into spell casting. It's a very unique magic system. It's there's a lot going on it. I have gotten some really cool spells, even though I'll never use them, like the red herring or the special herring and cheese quest where you get the ability to turn people into cheese with magic. That was kind of a cool and quirky little thing. But since I stick mostly to bows and daggers, that's where I've spent my focus. So I am kind of a non-magical based character, even though I can apply poison and I've got some fire arrows equipped right now. The music in the game is absolutely phenomenal. The sound effects are absolutely phenomenal. Here's where I will talk about some of the. I don't want to, these are just things that I think you should be aware of because for some people, these are things that are detriment. So I always tell people that if you are not a content creator, you have no reason to be playing games on day one if you are the type of player who is going to complain about day one issues with games. So this is the first game for this studio, the first of this type of game. So like with many indie games that come out when they first launch, there are some rough around the edges aspects. If you never played Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 when it launched, but you praise how amazing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is and how it's this perfect RPG, but you never actually played the first game when it first came out of Kickstarter, and you kind of that's kind of the discussion we're having here. Game companies, when they launch their first game, there are going to be things that have to be worked out. There are definitely some things that are rough around the edges with this game. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. That doesn't mean it's not an absolutely amazing RPG. For me, I made that video the other day talking about how this is one of the best RPGs I've ever played, like best like single player RPGs. Specifically, I talked about first person RPGs. But anyway, um, performance is an ongoing process, and it will be an ongoing process for them. I'm playing on the Xbox Series X, and as a general rule, the performance is pretty good. I am playing on the base, like the lowest resolution, which is 1920 by 1080, because I play long sessions. I can play in 4K, and it runs at a reasonable 30 frames a second. Anybody who bitches about that has never played games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which still to this day only has a 30 frames per second mode. Stop getting hung up on frames because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But if you want more than 30, you do have to drop the resolution down and play in. And people who's out there are saying like they removed the performance mode. No, they didn't. They just got rid of the terminology and you just scale it now versus do I want to play in 4K, 2K, or just regular high def 1920 by 1080, and the game scales its performance adjust accordingly. So there are some performance issues. There are some audio issues with the voiceovers. Like sometimes voiceovers will be normal volume and then they get really quiet, and then they're normal and get really quiet. There's some mixing issues with audio we've noticed here and there. There are some screen tears that have happened from time to time. They've done 3 patches on the Xbox so far, I think. And the most recent patch, I've had some graphical anomalies in the main keep that you start off at. But it's not that big of a deal to me because I'm having such a great time. I don't really care about those little rough around the edges things because those are things that will get patched out over time. So I just ignore those things and I move on and have fun playing the game because behind all of the rough edges is a really fun RPG that is the first game from this studio. And I think for my money's worth, I'm happy to support this because it is something that's unique and different, and I'm getting a ton of enjoyment out of it. I've been playing games for almost 40 years now. Believe me, I have played way jankier, way buggier things than this. So a little screen tearing from time to time, some performance hiccups, and some audio mixing issues are not enough for me to, dock them any points, because it's one of those things where I've already seen them make multiple patches since the game went live, which is what every company is going to do to support their game, and they will continue to patch as the game gets further and further out from its initial launch date. So, um, a little rough around the edges, but other than that, it is an absolutely amazing RPG. I am having a great time. I saw someone say yesterday that Mortissimo Gaming was at 80 hours and still not completed the game, so I'm anticipating that I'm going to get probably 50 to 60 hours out of this, because I don't do completionist versions like he does. Um, Although I do, generally speaking, try to do all the quests I see. I also, excuse me, I don't go out of my way to like explore every corner of the map. I don't do every single dungeon. There's probably, I think, a dozen dungeons and locations that I didn't do on the first map, which I did mention earlier. I just was like, I'm just following the storyline. I don't need to explore every nook and cranny, even though some of those nooks and crannies I have discovered, like Mog. Mog's quest was hilarious. I think she's an awesome NPC. The voice actors who did Mog needs to win some awards, because her voice acting was perfect for that character. And her quest is literally at the bottom of this crypt that you're never going to find unless you literally actively go into that crypt and go exploring, and then you get down to the base and you're like, wait a second, there's an NPC down here. So there's lots of little things to discover like that. So great game, fun story, good voice acting, solid RPG. One of the best RPGs I've played in years. Definitely an amazing experience. Although, again, rough around the edges. But they've already done multiple patches, and they've got more patches coming in the pipeline, so they'll just continue to make it better. And we will see where they go from here. So, for me, to you, I'm having a great time. Hopefully, you're having a great time. Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. The playlist also has a bunch of guides and stuff, and also thoughts videos and beyond. But I play a ton of other games, so make sure to check them all out. And we start every single day at around 5 a.m. Central on YouTube and Twitch. So see you next time, everybody.